Hey everyone, hope you're having another amazing week. This week, I wanted to bring you a story of an amazing physician who built something out of an idea, out of their own expertise. They leveraged what they already knew to create something that would impact thousands and thousands of people. I think it's a great example of what physicians are capable of. I'm interviewing Dr. Manju Dawkins. She's the creator and co-founder of Thimble. It's a really cool story. I know you're going to enjoy, so stay tuned. Welcome to the Passive Income MD podcast, where we talk about creating your ideal life through multiple streams of income. If you enjoy hearing about this stuff, make sure to hit subscribe. Now let's get on with the show. Hey everyone, this is an interview I've been looking forward to for quite a while. This is somebody I've known about. In fact, we've kind of crossed paths earlier in life, and now I get the chance to talk to her about the amazing things she's doing today as a physician. This is Dr. Manju Dawkins. She's a dermatologist in the Southern California area. She has a really prestigious background with all sorts of different schools and in her training. And she's practiced in all sorts of different settings, academic, private, hospital-based. She's a dermatologist again in Southern California. And she's also the creator and co-founder of Thimble. And Thimble is the first easy, safe, and comprehensive solution for alleviating needle pain and stress. You're going to hear more about it. You're going to hear about how she balances her life between clinical work and her new startup and innovation and the amazing things she's doing today. I'm just excited that she's here with us today to share her story. How you doing, Manju?
I'm great. And it is such an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you because, again, we'll talk about the background a little bit, how we ultimately know each other. But what is Thimble Health today? I hope I did a good job of explaining it, but maybe you could explain a little bit about what it is and what you aim to serve.
Yeah, so Thimble Health, it is exactly what you said. It's a platform of products to alleviate the pain and stress of needle procedures for everyone. So our goal is to make accessible products so everything we make is available without a prescription. We just want to alleviate a lot of that fear that pretty much most people experience to allow them to get all the healthcare that they need.
I mean, it's so cool to see what you built. And the reason I know about it is I've seen you now on multiple stages and platforms, and it's gotten a lot of press. And so it's amazing to hear where you are today. But back then, when actually the funny thing is our story kind of where our paths crosses, we actually went to medical school together. We were different years, but we both went to the University of Maryland. And back then when you were in school and you were going through kind of figuring out what your life was going to be like, was there ever any thought back then that you would have a startup, that you would create something, that you would have some sort of innovation or business along the way? Was that ever part of that, your thinking back then?
No. Short answer, no. I had no idea. You know, they always tell those stories about people who were like, selling newspapers from when they were 3 years old. I'm not that lady. I just, had no desire or interest or knowledge about it. Both of my parents were physicians, and it just felt like that's what I was going to be and that's what I was going to do. And, in medicine, you have that narrow kind of mindset, but life takes you places you don't expect sometimes.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, it's funny. It's true. Life kind of takes you in a funny way. Things get introduced. You meet somebody. So what was that thing for you? I mean, you're a dermatologist, very successful. I mentioned that you were practicing all sorts of different settings, academic and private. Like, when did this all start, the genesis of this idea of this product and what essentially what you created?
There was a very specific moment. My last year of dermatology residency, and I had my first daughter, and I took her in for her first set of vaccines. They're about 4 weeks old, kind of a blob. I thought I knew what I was doing. And then when she got stuck, like, her face was just like, how could you betray me? Like, what pain, betrayal, bewilderment. And it just was like, oh man, like, it was like, I always say it's the first moment of broken trust between parent and child. And it was the first moment of broken trust between the patient and the physician. And it's impactful. And I thought, like, ooh, I should have done better. I didn't protect her. And I was lucky, right? Like, all my co-residents were able to write me prescriptions for EMLA, for example. And I was able to, I knew how to use EMLA, and I could help my own kid. But then what is everyone else doing? And why aren't we making it better for everyone else?
I mean, at that time, was there no other solution besides EMLA and doing that? And ultimately, why did you decide, hey, I'm going to do something about this different?
Yeah, that's what's crazy. Because I thought, this is such a pervasive and obvious problem that literally everyone is experiencing. Somebody's already figured this out. And it was insane because there really wasn't anything available to people like, to alleviate the pain and stress of needles. And even EMLA, which requires a prescription. So there is a barrier. There's no access to even reaching us anymore. And then, not all of us are even educated about EMLA, like as an anesthesiologist, of course, right? In dermatology, we use it plenty, but we're never taught to even use it in the setting of vaccinations, for example. And why not? And so, yeah, so that's kind of like years later, the problem was identified, but then years later is when we kind of decided we're going to do something about it and realize like, oh, there's a huge gap here. We can help people and we can make an impact. Like I believe we can make a public health impact if we make these procedures just a little bit easier for people.
So what was that first moment then for you, or what was that first step that you took? Because you identified the problem, and obviously you have a really cool story in terms of the origin of it. What made you ultimately figure out, hey, this is an issue or problem? And then you decided, I want to do something about this. Like, what was that first step for you to figure out how to make this a reality?
Yeah, it was actually, it required space. So what I mean by that is we were moving from New York to Los Angeles. And so I was in between jobs, and like, we in medicine don't really get that space very often or ever really. And I was talking to a friend, and his anesthesiologist friend, and I was like, you know what, you need to invent something. And then I said the whole idea for Thimble, and she was like, that's a great idea. And I was like, great, you want to do it with me? And she passed, but my husband didn't. And so that's how it started. And it was literally just like one step at a time, like wait, there must be other stuff out there, realizing like, actually, no. And then figuring out why hasn't anyone else done it, right? Because if it's such a big problem, turns out it's very, very hard. It's been a big challenging journey, but I think one that's going to end up being worth it.
I mean, it's incredible. Did you just start by simply Googling how to make this happen? I will say, yeah, okay, well, let's just go right there, because I don't think anybody necessarily gives you a roadmap, especially when you're in medicine, you know exactly what to do to get to the next step. But when it comes to entrepreneurship and even doing an invention like you're doing, like nobody tells you exactly what to do. So what did you end up doing?
Yeah, honestly, it's totally crazy, because I have always been a very risk-averse person and always just like followed the path and just like stayed on track. So this was all very atypical, but it just came from a place of curiosity, like, this is a good idea. And like, why isn't there stuff out there? And then just like, it's like this like trail of like, I don't know, cookies or something like that. You're like, oh my God, there isn't anything. And like, we can do this. Like, we know how to do this. Cause like, you know, these magical things happen. Like I would open a derm textbook and there would be this graph about the pharmacokinetics of EMLA and how like we could do this better. And I was like, this is amazing. But it really was just one step at a time. And, because at each step you're like, I can't do this. Why? I don't know how to do this. I don't know. But then you just start talking to people, and they're just helpers along the way. It's like Mr. Rogers said, it's true. They're just people who know the field or have this expertise, and they're all willing to help, you know, because everyone wants to be a part of something good, you know?
So how did you know exactly then, like I'd say when you were, starting to develop this, right? And of course, like I look at it now and everybody, eventually will give the website here. People can check it out. It just looks like such a refined product, right? But like, how long did it take to get to that place where actually you were ready to put something out to the world? People are always curious about the whole development process. Like, how long did that take?
It's been a very long journey. So started the R&D in 2017, and that itself took probably 2 years just to even develop the formulation for the Prepare patch. And so the Prepare patch, basically it's a lidocaine based drug and adhesive patch, and you just put it on before any needle procedure. Like let's say I'm getting an IV in my hand or something like that, put it on for 60 minutes. And then when it's time for the procedure, you peel out the center portion. Why? Because with EMLA, you lose the sight of treated skin. A lot of the times when the patient comes into the office, they wiped it off and you're like, where did you know? So that's why we kind of designed it. Right. So then now you know where to inject, basically. So that has been a long journey, and it's not just the formulation. So that took 2 years, but then even beyond that, like product design, and manufacturing. There's just so many steps along the way. And if you had told me when I started that it was going to take this long and be this hard, I would have been like, forget it. But like there's just been constant progress, and I'm so excited because we're finally going to be able to launch our hero product in these next coming weeks. And so it's just worth it. And it's amazing to see something that was just like an idea come to fruition. So.
I mean, that's incredible. The amount of time and energy you've put towards this. You said started in 2017. You talked about how there was a little bit of space for you between jobs. So how are you managing then? I'm assuming you started back up in the clinical world. You started practicing again while you had this on the side. How were you able to make both?
That was tough. And so I was doing work, both. I was working full time in Derm and then basically nights and weekends working on Thimble. And there were definitely ups and downs and ebbs and flows in the work. And then there came a certain point, and I had done a few accelerators, and you were constantly getting this messaging like, if you're not full time, it's never going to work. You're never going to. So I, how we are, I was like, no, I can do it. It's going to, but then, at a certain point, we raised our first round of funding, and I did take a break from clinical medicine, and I needed that break for a number of reasons. Like I needed the space again to like open up and work on Thimble, like with full heart and mind and everything like that. And things just expanded in a really short amount of time. And then I said, those people from the accelerator, turns out they were onto something. But it also, that space allowed me to like really appreciate medicine again. Because, it's like we're being pulled from all limbs sometimes in medicine. Like you got to have perfect scores and be on time and don't have too many returns, but have enough. Like, it's just like, it's stressful. And so that break just helped remind me like why I love medicine, and it's the people. So when I came back, now I do practice 1 day a week, and I see it as a real blessing to still be connected to people in that way.
Hey everyone, I have a question for you. What if there was a way to make your money work for you instead of the other way around? Let me ask you, are you looking for a way to create passive income and secure your financial future? Or maybe you've stayed away from real estate because you don't have time to be a landlord. Then I want to introduce you to Passive Real Estate Academy. It's the revolutionary platform that we created that teaches you how to invest in real estate passively with little or no effort on your part. In just 4 weeks, our comprehensive course will teach you everything you need to know about passive real estate investing and help build that confidence in you so that you know that you're making a great investment choice. We created this course for busy people like you, and we're going to guide you from every step of the way, from understanding even the most basic information to understanding the jargon and understanding underwriting, so you can make sure that you're making a great investment, that you're maximizing your returns and minimizing your mistakes. And the best part, you can do this all from the comfort of your own home with absolutely no prior experience required. So it's time to prepare yourself and learn so that you can be ready for these deals that you see, because the time is coming. So don't let the demands of your job or the current economic climate dictate your financial future. So join Passive Real Estate Academy and build that confidence to know that you're making a great investment when it comes to syndications and funds. So visit our website at passiverealestateacademy.com to learn more and take your next step to financial freedom. Now back to the show. How does it feel now to have probably, again, you went on a different path than you had anticipated when you first left your training. You expected to do a certain thing. And now you have a life where you have clinical work. You've got this other business you're juggling. I'm sure you've got other things in your life that you're juggling. But how does it feel to have all of that together?
I don't want to mislead anyone and say like, oh, it's total cakewalk, because it is hard. But at the same time, and it depends on your own personality. And I think the biggest part of this whole entrepreneurship journey is like learning about yourself and what were your limiting beliefs and what's actually truly you. Because I used to think that I was that, like, I just need stability. But no, I'm not that person. And there's more to all of us, I guess, is one of the things. But I just feel lucky, I guess. I feel blessed to be able to have my toes dipped in many different places and have all these experiences. And it's hard, but it's a blessing. That's how I feel about it.
That's incredible. You mentioned how if you knew what you knew, what you were going to get yourself into. Again, it would have been hard to say to do it again, but there are going to be people who are along the journey that are starting these kind of things. Like, what would you specifically maybe have done a little bit differently than, looking back now? Like maybe some of the challenges that you saw, and maybe you would have done things a little bit, maybe prepared yourself a little differently. Like, what are some of those things? Yeah,
I think the first thing is to take care of yourself. Like, I really think that's important. And I still have a hard time with that sometimes. But what I mean by that is you have to take care of yourself on all levels, like physically, mentally, spiritually, all of the things. Because when you don't have yourself intact, nothing works. Like none of the jobs will work. And we kind of in medicine are taught the opposite of that. You got to take care of everybody else, and then you'll figure it out. Forget, you don't need to pee, you don't need to eat, and I realize that is not right. And I mean that on a financial level, because I think if there's one thing I would change, I think I think that, to be honest, I sacrificed my family's financial health in this process. And I think I would do that. I might do that differently, or I would advise someone else to do it differently.
I think that's such great advice. I mean, I think people, like I say, who are going into this, like that's real advice, right? From somebody who's been there. Now, I mean, where's Thimble today? Like, if you could exactly tell me, you said you're launching a product, your hero product soon. Like, what does that mean? And explain like where your product is going to be, essentially launched and sold, and tell us a little bit about.
Yeah, so the full platform includes the repair patch, which is what I call the hero product, because that was the original idea, and that's what's taken so much time and effort. And so that's going to be launching in the next few weeks. But we've actually already launched another product called Recover. So it's basically a patch that you put on right after needle procedures, and it is plant-based. So it has turmeric and arnica. That's why it has this kind of reddish orange.
Oh, really cool. So you said you put that on after you've had the injection. So there's before and then there's after.
Exactly. And this alleviates the bruising, pain, soreness that you get after. So for example, if you can put it on after your IV, it alleviates the bruising. That's the arnica working. After a vaccine, it's amazing for, that muscle soreness that people get. And the thing that I always say is pain is a teacher. I mean, you know this better than anyone. Like, pain is telling us to move away from whatever that stimulus was. And so we can't keep expecting people to get all of these vaccines and give themselves all these injections and do the IVF on their own. And just unless we offer them tools to make it palatable and doable in the first place. So, and the third part of the platform is we know that, needle pain isn't just physical. It's also emotional, it's psychological. And so we also have an app that puts together all the research-backed techniques and tools to make needle procedures easier. So like really simple things, breath work, applied muscle tension, cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, distraction, like a really big one. Just to help people get through. So that's in beta. So we're ready to go with that. We're excited about some piloting opportunities. And I'm just, my goal is to really, I hope that we can kind of, bring compassion back into the mix for all of us healthcare people, because I think that's the reason why most of us got into it, is like we want to help people. It sounds cliche, but it's just the truth. And I think the way the system has required us to work, especially in corporate medicine, it subtracts that. You don't get time with people. But my hope is just like extending, just like literally laying your hand on the patient in this way, just being like, I know this sucks, and here, I hope this makes it better. Like just simple stuff like that.
I mean, that's incredible. Where do you see this in about 3 to 5 years? Or where do you see this product ultimately being utilized? Where do people find this in? Oh, now, but again, in 3 to 5 years, where do you see this going?
I think it should be ubiquitous, and maybe not Thimble, but needle care should be ubiquitous. And the reason why is because it's something that actually helps everyone along the way, right? Obviously, the patient feels better, at least. The caregiver also feels better. Like, to go back to my own story about like being the mother, being like, oh God, what have I done? Like, the caregiver feels better. The practitioner feels better. Right? Like, there's all these studies that show that nurses get the IV on the first time when the patient's, pain and stress is better managed. Patient satisfaction scores will go up, which means higher reimbursements. Insurance companies will end up saving tons of money, like when people are actually getting their preventative care, staying adherent to treatment plans. There's just like all these win-wins. And ultimately, our goal is like, how do we serve public health? Like, how do we help keep the population healthy? So I hope that it's kind of widely adopted. And I think, like, anesthesia was only invented in the 1840s, and it seemed like a crazy idea. And now everyone cannot imagine getting a surgery without anesthesia. And so I hope we get to a place where we treat needle procedures with the same level of care.
So cool. I mean, it's incredible to hear your perspective on all of this. Again, most people, they may just see a patch, but to understand the whole background. And that's why I think it's awesome to talk to you specifically about this. Like, what do you think the potential is for other doctors to really innovate, to come up with something like this? Even though maybe they don't think they can, but now that you've gone through the process, what's the potential for other doctors to do something like this? I mean, you've gone really far into the space. You've raised capital. You've started this product, you're out there speaking on different stages, you've got this great, amazing website. What's potential for other people to do that?
Everyone is capable of this. I mean, and especially physicians, right? I think what makes me so sad is that we've all been told to stay small, and we've all been told that we can't do anything but just see patients. And there is nothing further from the truth, because you know what you had to do to get to this position, like how much work and grit it took to become a doctor in the first place. And if you can do that, you can do anything. And I also think that, we also work really hard and see a lot of patients, and that's data. Like, that is real life experience that, like, you can't help but create solutions, because you're seeing the problem so much that you're like, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to fix this. Like, it's just, we're all so capable of that. And I hope we can all just ignore the noise, because, like, there is a lot of people saying, like, oh, physician entrepreneurs, like, but that we're going to prove everyone wrong, and I'm excited about it.
And that's incredible. I know people are going to hear this story. They're going to resonate with you, your mission, what you're doing, want to find out more about you and, of course, about the company. Where's a great place for people to do that?
So our website is thimblehealth.com. So that's the best place to find, try us out. I would love that. And then also our Instagram is @thimble.health. We're also on TikTok, but I don't know where that's going.
No, right.
And also on LinkedIn. I enjoy LinkedIn, so definitely connect with me there. And I'm ready to learn. So if you have ideas about, like, hey, Manju, why haven't you thought of using it over here? Or I could really use it in this way, because I also want to empower physicians. So offering this, I think, is a real kind of gives people a competitive advantage. So if this will help your practice, like, pull people in, like, let me help you, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I love to hear from people. So please reach out.
I mean, that's awesome. You've already done so much to really, especially just sharing your story. You've given amazing tips to help people along the way, but we always like to leave people at least with one big piece of advice for someone who wants to follow in your footsteps. Do you have anything for them that might help them on their journey?
Well, it would be, don't follow in my footsteps. And what I mean by that is everyone has their own path. I really, really, really believe that. And I think a lot of the times we follow other people's prescriptions, like, okay, Steve Jobs did it this way, or whatever, insert any, Jeff Bezos, any like successful entrepreneur. But I think the key about each of those people is that they did something, and everyone in the beginning was like, well, what are you doing, dude? Like, they did it their own way, but they followed their own instincts and they followed their own heart. And that's what led them to success. It wasn't following a formula. It was following your own instincts.
That's incredible advice. What you're doing is amazing. Obviously, our community, I'm sure there's so many people in our community who could benefit from what you're doing. They're going to learn from you, but also, I'm sure they're going to find uses for this as well. Keep up the amazing work. So excited to see where this goes from here. I know it's going to be just even more successful than it is today. And we're excited that, we're part of this journey as well, too. So in any case, thank you for your time and energy and all this. And let's talk again soon.
I would love it. Thank you.
All right. Bye. Enjoy the show? Let me know by dropping a review in the podcast app you're listening to us in. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit subscribe. Join thousands of physicians who are also on this journey to creating their ideal lives through multiple streams of income. Learn more at our website, passiveincomemd.com. Thanks again for allowing me to be a part of your journey. See you next time.